I do appreciate the comment about the Small Business Committee. We've been very aggressive in the last couple of months and held several hearings on this subject. Some of you have testified before the committee, and the comments here are very reflective of what we've been hearing from those that have testified, that it's really time to focus on Main Street. We've stabilized Wall Street. It's now time to jumpstart Main Street, and there are some very good ideas that have come up about how to do that. One is I've introduced the legislation recently, the Small Business Access to Capital Act. You all testified in general support of it. So that obviously is one thing, raising the loan limits from 2 to 5.5 million and some additional things. The other is the extension of the SBA provisions, which you all have testified to, which is also something. What I want to put on the record, Mr. Chairman, is if this were done, this funding would support $16.5 billion in additional lending to over 40,000 businesses. Just that one provision of extending the stimulus provision. In a week since a queue has started, because the money has virtually run out as testified, 650 businesses are now waiting in the queue for $270 million in the loans that are still available. So clearly that could be done. My question is this: what recommendations do any of you have for designing this new idea that has come up, not new, but a redesigned idea from the 1970s for a new hire tax credit? Dr. Zandi, you said put it in effect, first come, first serve, but should it be specifically targeted to small businesses? If so, how small? Do any of you want to comment about that new hire tax credit that's being talked about, which might be very effective in addition to the other two things I've just mentioned? Dr. Zandi, we'll start with you and then just briefly go down.
I would not limit it to size of business. If you look at the rate of job creation by firm size, it has collapsed across all business sizes. 0 to 4, 5 to 9, over 1,000. So we've seen a collapse in job creation, and the most significant problems are in the very small business, and interestingly enough, in the very large businesses. The very large businesses have also completely stopped hiring, and they're very, very important to job creation. So, so I would not limit it. Also, adding to that perspective is it's already a complicated program. It's going to be gamed. You're going to have to really figure out, be very careful how it's designed so it's not gamed. And when you start layering on top of that, business size, I think it's going to just get way too complicated, and that limits the ability of you to get this out there and into the economy early next year.
Okay, do any of you all want to comment on that?
At times, sometimes the tax credits are complicated for small business to take advantage of. One thing that we have done that's been very effective for us and has eased the hiring decisions for us is our local Business and Employment Resource Center accessed training grant funds through, I believe, the Reinvestment and Recovery Act, such that when I considered hiring someone who was a local resident and unemployed, they would look at the job description for which I was hiring that person for, and they would evaluate. We'd look at how long it would take to train them and bring them up to speed to be productive. And they gave me my company a training grant that covered 50% of their wages while they were being trained. And to me, that was very effective. It was real time. It made that hiring decision so much easier to make, because I knew for the period of time that I was bringing that person on board and getting them trained and productive, I was going to be reimbursed for 50% of their wages. It was a 12-week period. It was not a large investment of funds, but it was huge to me.
And Mr. Chairman, I just conclude by saying that this is a good segue, because I don't think we realize the jewel that we have in the SBA. It's a small, but it can be muscular, it can be mighty if we give it effective support from Congress. We have a very good administrator, a very aggressive staff. I just reviewed, we have 1,000 university-based centers throughout the country. There are 5,000 community banks. I mean, if you think about almost one on every corner, universities in every community, large and small, that have these entrepreneurial centers. We have thousands, Mr. Chairman, of SCORE chapters out there, which are nonprofit, voluntary organizations committed to support and help entrepreneurs. I think recognizing the infrastructure that's out there, supporting the established grant programs, keeping it simple, and getting it done as quickly as possible would go a long way. So I look forward to working with my colleagues to do that. And as I said, there's several bills pending, but they need to be probably upgraded and built up and passed as quickly as possible.